Hey guys, this is Aegis, and this is game 2 between the University of Central Florida and the University of Tennessee. Over here we have Never Been as the red Zerg player going to be spawning for the University of Central Florida, and his opponent is going to be aficionado? I actually don't know how to say this word. I know what it means. Aficionado? Is going to be spawning as the blue Protoss player. That's actually kind of embarrassing. Um, well, we have a Protoss versus Zerg on the MLG IC Cup test bug. MLG IC Cup test bug. I don't know why I was trying to say Shattered Temple. This actually doesn't reach over here. Um, I don't like this pylon placement. And Never Been going to be throwing up his gas first. Nope, never mind. Looks like he's going to be going for the extractor trick. I actually didn't notice the food count there. He couldn't have been going for his gas first yet. Chrono Boost coming down from Aficionado. Aficionado? I'm going to be having trouble with that for the remainder of this game. The gateway is coming up for Aficionado, and his Zerg opponent is going to be going for the drone scout right now. The first drone is on the way, going to be checking this location in the bottom. He will be able to find his Protoss opponent. Chrono Boost going down on an empty Nexus. Oh no, that's always really bad for Protoss players. He just wasted part of a Chrono Boost. He did throw down his gas at a proper timing. He's got his gateway coming up, and the drone will be able to scoot in here in just a second to see exactly what's going on. There is an Overlord in position at the natural expansion to be able to scout any sort of pylons trying to come up to be able to cannon rush this location. We should be seeing a spawning pool shortly to help defend this natural expansion. And we do have the drone going to be start nibbling away at this pylon. Looks like it's going to go for the block. Looks like the drone will get the first nibble off on that probe, and another probe will have to get pulled to help defend against this drone push. And we do have the drone getting away with just 3 HP. He will be stealing the gas. It's so horrible always to have. This is actually a really wide gap, but it's always horrible to have a Zerg player stealing your gas. And we do have the probe going to be scooting around in here. Hopefully it doesn't throw off Aficionado too much in terms of his build. He does have a Zealot going to be trying to close this location off a little bit. Oh, Never Been canceling and immediately getting the gas up by Aficionado. Fast fingers for him, or maybe he did the Husky trick where you put the probe right by it and it doesn't allow him to actually take the gas. And we do have the hatchery up for Never Been. And I actually wonder why, if you steal the gas of your opponent and it finishes, why you can't use it. It's a building. You could just, I guess you could just bust inside. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to walk in there. And we do have a gateway finished with a stalker popping out. Of course it's finished. It's been done for a long time. We do have the warp gate coming up for Aficionado. And over here, Never Been getting a couple of Zerglings out onto the field to be able to do some scouting. And he also has the gas up. Queen going to be making her way out to the natural expansion. And we do have another queen coming up. First queen is laying down a creep tumor over here. Looks like a Zealot and a Stalker will be pushing forward. We'll see how Never Been decides to deal with this. He needs either a Spine Crawler or some additional Zerglings. Getting out additional drones right now. 4 more Zerglings on the way. And the Spine Crawler won't actually be done when this arrives. So he will be free to do some damage here as long as the Zealot arrives to be able to I guess tank most of the damage. Looks like he will be able to take out a couple of those Zerglings. Additional Zerglings popping out over here, and that Zealot will get a little bit surrounded. Looks like it will be trying to run away here, and the Zealot does go down, and the remaining Stalker continuing to pick off a couple of those Zerglings. The Queen actually getting a little bit off creep. Never Been does have additional Zerglings out right now, and the Stalker will be forced to retreat. Spinecrawler is done as well. That's actually a lot of Zerglings that Aficionado actually forced out there. He does have 3 gateways up and ready to take his natural expansion. There it is, a couple of sentries out as well. I'd like to see if Never Been actually push forward with his sentries to see if he can actually do any damage up at the front. He saw a Zealot and a Stalker, and it's most likely that the Protoss player wasn't really macroing too hard during that, since he was microing a lot. Aficionado does close this off a little bit with the pylon. I don't know if that's still a very wide space that a Zealot can't defend. Maybe it is. There's a robotics facility coming up for our Protoss player. And the destructible rocks getting worked on by our Zerg player to help give him some additional scouting. Looks like a couple of lazy Zerglings over there not really wanting to do their share of the work. And the Zerglings will be poking into the natural expansion right now. And they will be able to actually get a pretty nice surround there. Guardian Shield coming up, more force fields, but it looks like a ton of sentries actually going to be going down there, losing like all of his sentries. Oh no, this is so bad for Aficionado. That was his entire early game, and looks like the Zerglings cleaning up even all of the Stalkers. 22 Zerglings on the way for Neverbeen. He's probably gonna be able to bust in here very easily. There's only 3 Zealots, and additional Zerglings are going to be running forward. Immortal on the way. That's not the right choice for our Protoss player right now. He's just scrambling to get units out as quickly as possible. Additional sentries warping in right now. This was when you can actually warp in on ramps. Never been rallying the Zerglings forward, and there is the infestation pit on the way. The Zerglings actually sacrificing themselves. He just needs to wait for a little bit more of those Zerglings, and a lot of probes are going to be going down in here in just a second. Looks like the probes actually getting pulled to fight. That is the wrong decision in this case, and we do have the Zerglings going to be almost running into the main. Additional Zealots being warped in right now, as well as sentries. The Zerglings are going to be backing up for the moment, and additional Zerglings going to be popping out. A third base is on the way for Neverbeen, and the Vomit's going down with the Queens. The Zerglings going to be taking out the rocks over here. Nope, looks like they're going to return home and take care of these rocks first. Still lazy Zerglings, man. These Zerglings, they need to start working, man. They're just going to be hanging out over here. More Zerglings going to be lazy on this side over here. Maybe these rocks can't be attacked from this side. I don't know if that's the case. We do have the creep thread headed towards that third base. Connecting these areas is always good. Pathogen glands on the way for Neverbeen, and he will be able to get out a ton of infestors shortly. And this a very small army from Aficionado. He's just trying to get up as many units as possible, as well as tool his probe count. Robotics Bay, Colossus Den on the way for Aficionado as well. The Zergling run by is going to be able to come in here and do some additional damage, and it looks like the probes getting pulled off the line as well. 9 workers killed so far, and the Zerglings are going to be running over here. More force fields going down, and the Zerglings have been completely denied their attack this time. Looks like they will be going after a couple of those probes, and they do get cleaned up. Looks like two Zerglings do make it out of there alive. Aficionado with the 1 kill Immortal right now, and the infestors are now on the way for Neverbeen. This Zergling is not even keeping watch over the tower. It's such an easy job. All you have to do is sit, and this Zergling is being lazy. Neverbeen, you need to get on your Zerglings, man. These Zerglings are so lazy. They don't want to do anything. And it looks like the Zerglings are going to be advancing across the field, perhaps to take control of this tower. They're going to be helping this guy out here, since these Zerglings do not want to do any work on their own. Infestors have popped out. Looks like maybe it's because of the lack of the infestor. Looks like a burrow going down. They will be able to advance forward, and there is the observer going to be checking everything out here. And if Aficionado isn't looking carefully, he'll notice that he won't notice, actually, the infestors. And we do have the Zerglings now nibbling away at these rocks, and still, what the heck? I am sure he selected his Zerglings and right-clicked on that rocks, and half of them aren't doing anything. We do have the infestors now moving forward. Are there any observers here? Oh no, there are not. Those Zerglings are trying to nibble away those rocks. Looks like the Protoss army will come in here and be able to deny it. And the observer going to be able to take out one of those infestors. And the fungals going down at the natural expansion. And all of the infestitarians going down as well. And the probes are at pretty low health. He just needs one more fungal. And it looks like the infestitarians popping out and not doing too much. And the probe's going to be returning back to work. All of them down to the very, very red health. And I wonder if he actually lost any probes there. 20 workers killed by Neverbeen. That's actually a huge number. Aficionado has just been taking a ton of damage. He has killed a lot of Zerglings to his credit, but Zerglings to a Zerg player, I've heard Zerg player just call them being free. And then there comes the Guardian Shield. He will be pushing in here. And are there infestors at the ready? Looks like there are not. 4 infestors going to be popping out shortly. 2 infestors over here. If he throws down those perfect fungals, he may be able to hold this off. More fungals going down on the sentries. Looks like they will be able to take a lot of damage. The hatch does take a lot of damage and does fall. And the infestor going to be throwing down additional fungals. And the Zerglings getting in here trying to clean everything up. The 2 Colossus getting nibbled away by the Zerglings. A very frightening prospect here against those Zerglings, and the remainder of this Protoss army is going to be falling shortly. More infestors popping out, 26 Zerglings on the way. Aficionado falling 262 food. That's not a good position to be in. He does have 1 Colossus here, and we'll see if he's able to hold off this impending push. 2 additional gateways on the way. Zerg player banking. Wow, 2,000 minerals. The Zergling's going to be just running in here, head along. It looks like they do get the surround on the Colossus and the Stalkers, and all of those units will be falling. Aficionado holding on as long as possible for the good of his team. Looks like Never Been will be taking this game shortly. For the University of Central Florida, Aficionado does have his 2nd Colossus out. All of the Zerglings get cleaned up, but 28 more Zerglings as well as infestors on the way. Never Been at 40 more food than his opponent. And infestors in here as well are going to be popping up and throwing down the GAC on those probes. Looks like a ton of those probes do go down, sacrificing a couple of those infestors. Not too big of a deal. 39 workers killed by Never Been. Aficionado's economy is in shambles. Let's take a look at the units tab. 64 probes to the 64 drones to the 29 probes of Aficionado as of this moment, and that infestor will get cleaned up in just a moment. And down goes the infestor. Maybe he could have popped up and done one last gack on all of those probes and possibly taken a couple of those red ones out. Let's see, 36 damage. Yeah, I would have been able to take those guys out. We do have the Zerglings chilling at the central watchtower. Additional Zerglings on the way. He's just going to Zergling his way to victory. Granted that those Zerglings do not end up being lazy and just sit there during the battle. Aficionado here with now 3 Colossus out on the field. He does have 5 gateways as well as the robotics facility, but he's just so bankrupt. He is not even fully... I guess he's fully saturated in the main after mining out a couple of patches, but he's not fully saturated. He wasn't fully saturated, and he's still not fully saturated at the second base. I'd like to see Never Been actually take another base as of this point. He's so far ahead he can easily take maybe 2 or maybe even 2 or 3 more bases right now. Not sure what he's just doing. He's getting an Ultralisk Den. He doesn't have too much gas because he hasn't taken his 4th and 5th base. I don't know. Never Been isn't playing too well right now, but he is in a winning position. And our Protoss player now taking control of this Xel'Naga Watchtower. Never Been, all he needs to do is watch his macro for the next game, and he will be in a great position to win it many games, especially against Protoss players, I guess, with those infestors. I think infestors are OP, so, you know, what can you do? Never Been over here, taking out the rocks over here as well. The Protoss army getting a pretty nice spread over here, actually, to be able to defend against those infestors. Infestors hiding out over here with a ton of energy. Never Been headed up to 170 food. He's just waiting for those ultras now, and hanging out, going to be taking out the destructible rocks over here. Now this time the Zerglings do have a reason to be lazy. There's not enough surface area on that rock for all those Zerglings to attack it, and it looks like our Protoss player going to continue to sit back. He needs to take a 3rd base real soon, as his main is drying up. He's getting out the +1 ground armor, and our Zerg player is it's 0-0. Man, never been. You need to get on the ball here. Get those upgrades up. Looks like Aficionado now at 1-0 will be pushing forward. And it's just Zerglings. It's up to those Infestor to be able to do the damage. Colossus laugh at Zerglings, especially if they have 1 or maybe +2 attack. I think +2 actually kills them in one shot. Let's see. 17 damage +2 times, let's see, +2 is 19. 19 times 2, got 38 damage. Yep, they do kill Zerglings in one shot if they do have the +2, and it looks like the Zerglings are going to be advancing over here. The Colossus getting a fungal growth, and the Ultras need to get over there to stomp down those force fields, but it looks like it is not possible. Trapped behind those Zerglings, and the Infestors over here on the high ground need to throw down additional fungal growths. Never been throw down the fungal growths. You've got so much energy. The Zergling is going to be advancing over here, and the Ultras stuck in the back. All of the Zerglings get completely roasted. Horrible engagement for Never been trapping himself on the high ground. Additional fungal growths going down. Great fungal growths here, taking down most of the Stalkers, leaving only the Colossus at pretty low health as well. 36 Zerglings as well as additional roaches now on the way for Neverbeen. He's got such a large bank. He's got more Ultras out in the field as well, and it looks like this is the chance for Aficionado to actually push. We got Infestors over here going to be able to throw down some more Gax on those probes. And one more will do it, and there it is. All of the probes do go down, and here comes the push forward by Aficionado. Never been at 142 food. He needs to do a maximum damage here with his army. If he loses his army, he will lose this game. He's going to need to turn around and roast away those Ultras, get those Colossus in the backside, throw up the Guardian Shield as well. Looks like the Ultras are just way too strong, getting such a good surround over here, as well as the Transfuses going down. It's just 2 Colossus left. Aficionado is going to lose his army and his hopes of winning this game. There are Infested Terrans popping out over here as well. GG from Aficionado. Absolutely great game here, and Neverbeen takes takes a game for the University of Central Florida, tying it up to 1-1, and we're going to be headed to our 2v2 game. Where our, I guess, lesser skilled players can practice their macro and stuff. In the CSL, this is going to be the 2v2 game. A lot of interesting things actually can happen in 2v2 games, and I think it's going to be on one of those really horrible 2v2 maps. We'll see what it is in just a moment.